Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is stage 5 of Tour of the Basque Country. Now today's stage at 166 kilometers, just about 105 miles. Going to be a difficult stage with 5 categorized climbs, but it's the 3 bumps at the very end, just under 15 kilometers to go, that are going to be narrow, technical, crazy descents, and very, very steep. We're talking 9-10% steep for 1 kilometer each one of those bumps at the finish of today's race with 9 kilometers to go. Now when the racing comes on, it's Remy Cavagna up there from Soudal Quick-Step, and he's got his teammate along with him, Matteo Cattaneo. So these two guys are going to put on a show here on stage 5 with 2 Soudal Quick-Step riders out there at a 3.5 minute gap. When we go back and look at the peloton, there's 2 teams chasing. Jumbo-Visma got guys all over the front, and Jaco Alula got a rider up there helping out Jumbo-Visma to keep this gap down tight. Now, if I take you back a couple years to stage 5 of 2021, it was 2 quick-step riders that were out front at the end of that stage 5, and the field of GC favorites back there could do nothing about it as they were trying to bring back Mikel Honore and his teammate Joseph Cherney, who drove it all the way to the line, with Mikel Honore taking the victory on that 2021 Stage 5 victory. So when I'm watching this Stage 5, seeing 2 pseudo quick-step riders up there going big-time pulls with each other, holding off the peloton behind, we see back there it's Ada Schelling that shows us power meter, and the kid's running 450 watts back there with still over 50 kilometers to go. Now we'll start seeing a little bit of troubles with Jumbo-Visma as they have a crash with Steven Kruijswijk. Looks like he overlapped the wheel of Jonas Vingegaard, then in order to save the bike, went hard right, got caught behind from Movistar and hit him or something, and then all of a sudden we see him going down, crashing hard, but he'll get back up and come back to the peloton without much damage and road rash on him, so it looks like he just went, flopped, and came down hard straight down. Sometimes those crashes are worse than a long slide when you just flop over and come down. I've broken wrists that way and broken some other bones with some hard flops versus a nice slide. Sliding hurts the skin a little bit, but it saves the bones. Steven Kruijswijk comes out a little bit more lucky than I did during my kind of crashes back in the day like that, and he's back up there at the front. Brandon McNulty will have a bike change, and it'll take him a little bit of time to get back up to the front, but we'll see the UAE Team Emirates rider that's racing on general classification here arrive back at the back of the peloton after about 3-4 kilometers of chasing back there after having a mechanical. Now up front, we see one of the time bonuses, the early one, come up. There's still the 2 riders up front from Soudal Quick-Step. So behind, we see that it's FDJ coming across the line. Davi Gaudu coming across. He gets a 1-second time bonus for third. Jonas Vingegaard goes back there, but out of the time bonus placings. Up front, with about 30 kilometers to go, as the gap's rounding about 2 minutes, we see Team Ineos get on the front with their whole squad. Now, what are they doing up front, and what are they trying to achieve? It's Ethan Hayter, their sprinter, that they're going to try to look after all the way to the finish here at stage 5. I don't like the tactic. Nobody's knuckleheads, but it's just not a tactic I'd employ. It's kind of like when you're driving around the town where you live and your significant other's in the driver's seat and you're in the passenger seat, and you're used to going one way and she or he's used to going another way, but you get there in the same amount of time no matter which way you go. I prefer my way, they prefer their way, so Ineos is going to go on the front with Ethan Hayter. Now let me remind you, this is a little bit steep, like I said, with 15 kilometers to go. Some steep climbs to the finish, and we're at the Basque Country. Ethan Hayter has won at Tour of Romandy, he's won at Algarve, so the kid can go uphill, but this is a little bit different field. Everybody's on form, the roads are narrow, it's explosive accelerations because you have the top general classification favorites lined out here at the Basque Country. Okay, with Ineos on the front with 30 kilometers to go, and now we're going to come into the first real climb, and Ineos is going to lead into it and up the climb, and this is when they're going to catch Remy Cavagna, the French Soudal Quick-Step rider. We still got one more rider up front because Matteo Cattaneo going solo here after his teammates dropped off. Ineos still stay on the front, and they'll bring back Cattaneo with about 20 kilometers to go. After that, Ineos is doing a solid job. We see a little bit of reshuffling as we're coming into the time bonus sprint, the second one here on stage 5. Now we got a little bit of a battle as Roman Gregor from FDJ is going to win the sprint classification to keep some time bonuses away from Jonas Vingegaard, who finishes third on the sprint line, so he'll gain 1 second bonus over all his rivals up here on the general classification. Now, it starts getting really exciting. If you guys want to watch today's stage and you're limited on time, make sure you tune in with about 15 kilometers to go, because this is when it gets really good. After the sprint line competition, Movistar get on the front for a short time, and then we start seeing some battles back there as Bora Hansgrohe comes through on the right side and Ineos is on the left, and the two teams are battling with each other, having a drag race, because we're getting ready to start the really difficult climbs here at the finish, and they're not even categorized as rated like the earlier ones here on stage 5. With the two riders at front, with the two teams out front, that is, we'll see both Ineos look right, and then we'll see Bora Hansgrohe look left, as we see the two riders on the front for each team looking at each other, wondering who's going to win this battle. Well, we don't have to wait too long, because Ineos is going to pull ahead and Bora Hansgrohe is going to drop a little bit back. When we look at the aerial shot looking down at the peloton, this shot's pretty cool, and you look at Jumbo-Visma with Jonas Vingegaard always near his teammates, still got 2-3 teammates with him, but he's a little bit in the middle. This is where Jonas Vingegaard needs to go start doing a little bit of work. As we look up front, we start getting ready to dive into the first of the technical climbs here. We see Jonas Vingegaard pull out hard left, and he'll accelerate to the front. That'll leave Landa. If I go back to the aerial shot and you take a look at it, Landa was trying to follow Jonas Vingegaard. Perfect tactical sense right here to follow the race leader in the yellow jersey, especially when you only have one teammate left for Bahrain Victorious, Landa, there to have any help. So he's trying to follow Jonas, but Jonas pops out, like I said, to the left. Landa gets a little bit lost, but not too much. Only 4 or 5 guys when this climb starts proper, with Ineos on the front. Now, as I said, the road's starting to narrow. Ineos is still doing a solid job on the front. We're coming down to just under 10 kilometers to go. As with 9 kilometers, we're going to have a hard right turn, and it goes up. There's a little bit of a technical chicane as we come into that 9-kilometer tight right bend to start the super steep first bump here to the finish of stage 5. Now look at Ineos as they fly in to this right turn here. They got 4 guys with their sprinter, Ethan Hayter, at the front of the peloton. Now, if I take you guys back north up to the classics, remember Trek Segafredo's ridiculous tactic when they slowed down and blocked the whole road up? Well, this is the time you want to employ this tactic. You don't want to stop at the while going up the climb, but you want to go wide and you want to slow the group down and block it, because it's a narrow road. But you don't want to stop. This is an ideal time to take that Trek Segafredo tactic that we also saw DSM try to employ at Tour of Flanders to ridiculousness of unbelievable to try that at Tour of Flanders. Now we're going to see right here with 9 kilometers to go when it would have been perfect, but guess what? Somehow within 2 or 3 pedal strokes, Ethan Hayter has already lost the front of the peloton, and we haven't even really started to go up the climb. Now with just a couple pedal strokes after that, because the road wasn't blocked on the right side, Enric Mas has got a free lane to attack up the right side of the road when this climbs at 10%. With Mas attacking hard, we see Jonas Vingegaard, who was always in perfect position throughout this stage 5. He's right away on the Spanish rider's wheel and shuts it down. Next rider to throw in an attack is going to be Felix Gall from AG2R. This kid is putting on a show here at the Basque Country, guys. Make sure you remember his name, because Felix Gall has some legs and some form for climbing when we're talking about racing here in April at the Basque Country. Jonas Vingegaard, again, is all over the AG2R rider, but with the acceleration from Gall, he split the group up. Got about 12 guys on his wheel, and when we look at the gap behind, it's Jaco Alula rider that's trying to close the gap, and behind him is Skilmos from Trek Segafredo as the race leader wearing the young jersey back there. He's trying to get himself back up to the front with Jaco Alula rider pulling as hard as he can. Now the group from behind with Jaco and Skilmos will catch up to Felix Gall as we go back up front and see Attila Walters, Jumbo-Visma, is still there for Jonas Vingegaard. Now Walters is racing tactically amazing throughout here at the Basque Country. And I want to take you guys back to Strade Bianche. Remember when he had his teammate Thies Benoot and they were chasing Tom Pidcock there? Thies Benoot kept doing those crazy, ridiculous attacks when Tom Pidcock was clearly too far away. And Thies Benoot got all upset at Attila Walters, and the commentators from GCN said, I don't know if he should have been chasing, maybe he should have, maybe he shouldn't. Later there was all kinds of drama in the Belgian press about Attila Walters not knowing how to race. And I said up on the butterfly effect, Attila Valters was 100% correct there at Strada Bianche. And now you look here at the Basque Country, the kid doesn't need any instructions. He goes straight to the front and starts setting tempo. The next attack's going to come from Chavez. Chavez, EF Education, they're finally on an intelligent tactical plan here as Chavez throws in attack. But again, Jonas Vingegaard has too much legs for the EF Education rider, so they shut it down. Attila Valters, again, comes straight back to the front. And then we start the crazy technical descent. I'll show you in the picture when we come into the right, Attila Valters is leading. This is the Basque Country, so it's technical, it's crazy, and the roads are narrow down the descents. Attila Valters can't make the turn. Luckily for Attila Valters from Jumbo-Visma, there's a little bit of a driveway exit. He's able to go off to the left and then the driveway. Jonas Vingegaard shoots through the inside, gives a little look over his shoulder like, man, I hope he makes it because I still need my teammate because we got a little bit further to go here at the Basque Country, stage 5. Attila Valters will keep his bike upright. I can't blame him for being a knucklehead here because I've ridden off the road a couple times throughout my tour of the Basque Country experiences because these descents are crazy. But Attila Valters, like I said, will come back to the front. Before he gets to the front, though, Ion Izagirre from Cofidis, show you the picture, flying through the left turn as he's trying to attack Jonas Vingegaard. But again, Jumbo-Visma riders directly on the wheel. Now we look back as the road starts to flatten out. We see there's 25 guys just under up here in the front group. Chasing behind Team Ineos, going full gas with Ethan Hayter's teammates doing everything they can to bring him back, but the gap's 10-15 seconds up to the race leader GC guys up here at the Basque Country. Now Quick Step pop on the front because they know Ethan Hayter's back there, so they don't want the fast Ineos rider to get back up to this front group because they have not one, not two, but 3 riders in this front group. And Baggioli's a fast rider, and Mario Schmidt's quite fast in a small group too. So they got James Knox on the front with Baggioli. Baggioli doesn't stay up there too long, till about 4 kilometers just over. Baggioli rotate off, and then again Valters goes to work as he slots in just behind James Knox's wheel. Perfect position at this moment when there's only 2 Jumbo-Visma riders. You want to be near the front to be able to control the pace. Or if you don't have the legs for that and you need to survive these next couple bumps, you want to drop back to where your race leader is so you're at the back of the group or certainly behind him so you can see him if he has any problems. But if your legs are good, if you can help control the pace so you can keep the attacks from coming, that's what Valters wants to do for his race leader, Jonas Vingegaard. Keep it under control. Remember what I always tell you guys on the butterfly effect. As the mountains come down, the levels come even. And right now we're out of the big mountains. So this group of just under 25 riders, if it slows down at all, there's going to be attacks all over the place. So that's what Valters is trying to control by sitting second wheel behind the pseudo Quick Step rider, James Knox. Now, Knox is pulling hard as the road starts going back up with about 3 kilometers to go. When we look back, that group with Ineos chasing, they are going as hard as they could up to just about 4 kilometers when finally they blew up. We see Danny Martinez at the back of the group. That means this group is not going to catch the front because we could see they were almost there, but not quite. And it was pseudo Quick Step's James Knox that just was not going to allow it to happen. Drilling it. Once we get up to just over 3 kilometers, there's a hairpin turn and this starts the descent, run into town. And we know now the second group, Ethan Hayter, is not going to see this front group, and Ineos have nobody in the front group here on stage 5. Now this group of just under 25 will start coming down into the town with about 1.5 kilometers to go. With 1K to go with Quick Step on the front, we're going to see just as they go under the banner, 900 meters, we see the first attack coming in to try to win stage 5, and it's coming from Valters. He's been given the green light to go for the stage win at 900 meters. He accelerates, and just behind we're going to see that it's Mario Schmid, pseudo Quick Step, that's coming from the back that'll close up to the gap on Valters. Okay, this is a bad move when I'm sitting on the Chesterfield because Valters is not so committed to winning. He's just not going to pull everyone to the finish. If he gets away clean, sure, he's going to go to the line. But otherwise, he doesn't have a whole lot to gain. And with 900 meters going all the way, pulling a pseudo Quick Step into the last final 2 turns with about 450 meters to go. Now, as we see, Valters deaccelerates. All of a sudden, we see Jonas Vingegaard coming up from the right side with Sergio Aguita from Bora Hansgrohe locked onto the race leader's wheel. Then on the left side, we see not one, but 2 Movistar riders because Enric Mas is leading out Rubens Guerrero as they're coming up to Valters. Now we'll see that Mario Schmid, that was sitting just behind Walters, he didn't know that the speed was slowing down. He made a big time mistake. Mario Schmid, anytime the speed at the front starts to drop, you better be looking over your shoulder and wondering who's coming. I never saw Mario Schmid look back. He doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't realize the pace is dropping or doesn't have the legs to do anything about it. So as the pace drops, he's going to get swarmed from Movistar on the left and race leader Jonas Vingegaard on the right. We see him try to move over on Jonas, but there's no space there. He goes back. And now Mario Schmid is out of the running here at stage 5 for a victory as he's getting swarmed going all the way through the back as everyone's pushing him out of the way and sending him down the river. Now up there, we're coming into the corner and it's Movistar leading, Enric Mas. It's a right turn coming out with 400 meters to the line. So it's going to start the turn in about 475. It's a long right and right. Now, as with Movistar's, Mas starts the right turn. Look at his pedal. His left foot is all the way straight down because he wants his right up because it's a right turn, so he wants to get maximum turn, right? Well, pay attention because he never bothers to pedal through these two right turns. And if you look at his speed, he goes inside on the first right, and now he's in the middle of the road, and then he goes inside on the next right coming out, but never bothered to pedal throughout this long bend that you easily could have gone through with more speed when you look at how he's not using that much of the road. And I'll explain it a little more when we see the view from the top. They're 3 wide in the back, right? So Mas could have gone through this turn a lot faster or could have at least continued the pedal stroke through this right coming out with 400 meters to go. Instead, Mas is at the front. He's got his teammate Rubens Guerrero on his wheel coming out of the final right with 400 meters to go. And then he needs another 25 meters before he starts getting out of the saddle to start accelerating. This cannot be good for Rubens Guerrero because remember, just like Walter shutting off the gas back there before he's coming into the right, that caused Mario Schmid to get swarmed from behind. This same kind of scenario can start to happen. We see a little bit of gap back there to Jonas Vingegaard, who's accelerating coming out of this corner. And as he's accelerating, we look back in 6th position. It's a Gita back there, Bora Hansgrohe, that'll follow the wheel there of Jonas Vingegaard just one spot behind him. And then he'll fly off to the right at 350 meters to go. The Bora Hansgrohe rider start his acceleration, come by Jonas Vingegaard, slot to the right side there of the Movistar train at 200 meters. He's even with both Movistar riders at 150. We see that it's Rubens Guerrero who's starting to drift hard to the right side. Jonas Vingegaard started his sprint coming up on the right side blazing, but Rubens Guerrero puts him into the barrier and Jonas has to slow down. After that, on the left side, we got Baggioli, pseudo quick step. Rubens Guerrero, who held up Jonas Vingegaard on the right side, now moves over and hits and bumps elbows with Baggioli. And now up front, Sergio Higuita, he looks back over his shoulder, realizes he's got this win with 25 meters to go. He sits up and starts celebrating with arms in the air like he just don't care because they got 2 victories for Bora Hansgrohe here at the Basque Country with Sergio Higuita rounding out this stage 5 with a marvelous victory, sprint victory here to beat the best GC guys at this flat running sprint. We look back, 2nd place, Baggioli, pseudo quick step. I believe that's their 3rd second place finish here at the Basque Country. And then we look in 3rd, Skilmos, Trek Segafredo. Where did he come from? Guys, let's back the film up. He's in 10th, 12th position with a couple hundred meters to go. And somehow Skilmos had gotten himself all the way up to get himself a podium and round out the day here for Trek Segafredo. Now afterwards, we start looking at pseudo quick step interview from Baggioli. He says the whole reason they were on the front was because Hayter was in that second group. They got on the front, but man, did you guys mess up the finish there. And then we look at the interview from Jonas Vingegaard, who says tomorrow stage 6 could be a little tricky. He's done this race 3 times in the past, he said, and he says always the last stage at the Basque Country is tricky. And it is. If you guys remember last year, it was Remco Evenepoel that was coming in with the race leader's jersey, and they were attacking him all over the place. He was isolated with no teammates, and then it was Danny Martinez that jumped the Belgian rider and ended up winning the general classification. Go back some years beyond that, it was Jumbo-Visma's Primož Roglič that won on the last day over Brandon McNulty and none other than Tadej Pogačar on that last stage. But he went up the road, had to have all kinds of little things help. Had some help from Movistar pulling, had some help from the motorcycles pulling, and he had some help from David Gaudu, where he's basically sold the stage, gave him the stage win to help pull. and that allowed the Primoz Roglic from Jumbo-Visma in order to win that stage, while Tadej Pogacar was back there chasing like crazy, and Brandon McNulty was chasing like crazy on that stage too. So tomorrow's final stage here at the Basque Country on Saturday, the 6th stage, could hold all kinds of excitement for us fans sitting on the couch. If it's anything like the previous stages here at the Basque Country, make sure you tune in early, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you for tomorrow, stage 6, the final stage of the Basque Country here on the Butterfly Effect.